Okay, so now that we have our background images with the correct pixel dimensions created in Photoshop, we're going to finish the ad in Illustrator. So open up Illustrator, go to File, go to New from Template, and choose from the blank templates folder, Banner Ads, AIT. All right, so you have several artboards here that have various pixel dimensions, and we only need 3. So we need to edit the artboards in this document. Let's go to Document Setup, Edit Artboards, and when we edit the artboards, we can see the pixel dimensions, and let's just see if there are any here that we can use just as is. So we can use this one, 160 by 600. This one we don't need. This one is 728 by 90, so we can keep that. And we need one that's 250 by 250. So for this one, we could just enter in the correct number of pixels, and now we have our artboard. We can move these around if you've never used artboards before or taken advantage of multiple artboards in Illustrator. You can actually, move these around however you want to. Whatever is most convenient for you to work. Okay, so once I'm finished editing the artboards, I'm just going to click back on the selection tool to get out of that edit mode. And I'm going to go to File, Place, find the images that we exported from Photoshop. I can shift click to select all 3, click on Place, and then let's place the first one. And I'm going to, you can see there's a little preview icon of the particular one that we're going to place right now, which matches this artboard. So I'm going to go to the corner where it says intersect and just click, and it comes in directly over my artboard. The next one I'm going to do the same, and the next one I'm going to do the same. So now I have my background images placed perfectly on my artboards. Let's go ahead and just rename layer 1 background, and let's lock that layer and create a new layer, and we can call this one artwork. And you can work in multiple layers. For me, I don't think that this is that complex of a project. We're just placing some type over this and maybe some flat graphic for a button. But I'm just going to work with one layer. And what we'll do now is just go ahead and use the type tool and just type in our headline, "Keeping cool is a breeze." You're going to want to spend some time styling this. What I do is I make sure that I use the tracking feature, and for mine I'm going to put some negative tracking on this. When I put negative tracking on, when I put negative tracking on something, sometimes the letter spacing needs some individual adjustment. So I zoom in and I go to the type tool and I click my cursor between the letters that need adjusting, and I go ahead and I make that adjustment. So I use the kerning feature to do that. And I tend to start with these presets, and then if you need to make some specific adjustments, you can go ahead and manually type in an amount. All right. We need the logo here, or logo type, so I'm just going to use the same font that I used for the headline, and it's called Fresh Air All right, and since this is a logo type, I really want to customize it somewhat in terms at least of spacing and the way I'm doing the color. So I like the way that these letters are joining together here. So I'm going to put some negative kerning on these to make them all flow together. And I'm really, since this is a logo type that is supposed to be unique to this company, I'm going to go ahead and really customize this letter spacing. So it's a good idea to use guidelines. So you need your rulers, and to drag out margin guides, you can just drag from the rulers. And this way you're sure that you're being consistent with the way that you're placing your objects and that you're leaving a bit of a margin. All right, so when you, if you select a color using the color picker, and I'm going to go with a bit of a more saturated blue, you can click on this swatch and drag it over to your swatches panel so you can access it again. I'm actually going to choose a different green. Maybe a little more saturated. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and apply these colors. So I'm going to use the rectangle tool to create a button and zoom in a bit so I can see what I'm doing. I think I want my button to be green. Now I'm going to put some rounded corners on my button, so if I have my rectangle selected and I go to this little shape menu, I can apply some curves. Now I want this particular button to be square, flush against the edge of the ad, but I want these top corners to be rounded. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in some pixel. Type in a pixel amount. Let's see, let's try 8, 12. Just want it to be fairly obvious. All right, so it's kind of like a little tab. And then I'm going to go ahead and type in my call to action, get cool now. And I want to customize that because it's a different kind of information than the previous. All right, so that's essentially it for that this narrow horizontal ad. And then to go ahead and create your other two ads, you're just going to copy and paste onto the other two ads. So copy your headline. You're going to have to reconfigure these So then you're going to go ahead and do the same thing to the third ad, but you know, because it's long and narrow, it's going to need further adjustment. When you're finished with all three, then you want to save these as individual JPEGs. Those are the things that you're going to turn in, not the Illustrator file, but the JPEGs. So when you're finished, you do want to save your original AI file. So let's go ahead and save this. So we're saving the original first, but we need to export some images. Again, you're going to want to make sure all 3 of your ads are completed. So go to File, go to Export, Export As. Choose, click on Use Artboards, and let's save these as JPEGs. And we could save these in their own separate folder, because that's actually what you're going to end up turning in, is just a folder with the 3 JPEGs. All right, just make sure all use artboards in JPEG, choose export. Make sure it's RGB, quality is maximum. Hit OK. All right, so now we go to your folder and check out what we've got in here. They've got the pixel dimensions of the artboard, so leave those on there. You could close up these spaces before you hand it in. Okay, and then right-click, choose Compress, and upload that zip file to the assignment link.